What we're going to start with, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce Candice Baker. Yep, and Mandy Chamberlin. So all good. Candice and Mandy are the directors of Network NZ, which is an online business networking community. Would that be the right way to call it? And there's thousands of New Zealand business owners. It's, I think, the biggest. It's definitely one of the biggest. It's huge. And they go there every day to network, engage, and get support when they have problems with running business in New Zealand. Candice is a strategic thinker, and she really likes to look at ways to make businesses succeed. Worked from small Kiwi startups all the way up to large international corporations, and also owns the Marketing Baker, which I just got to say, from a branding perspective, I love that your last name's Baker, and then it's literally the Marketing Baker. I thought that was very well done. So nice of it. And Mandy's fascinated by people, and I just love this. You do human behaviour and interaction, and you actually study psychology and criminology. And I would love to have a chat to you later about some of those things. I just think that's the most cool thing ever. And trying to work out how people do what they do and why they do it. And also run a customised embroidery business, which is Veronica and Me Designs. They've got cool jackets and that sort of thing, which I thought was really awesome. And they run Network NZ. And so that's basically the site. The talk today is going to be about trolls and triumphs and how they run the forum and how they moderate it, and some issues that they've had with bullying, which I'm really excited to hear about. I think there is not enough done in New Zealand, and I think a lot of adults forget that bullying can happen, and people also forget when impacts happen to them, and there are people that are suffering in the real world, and someone could be just egging them on, and that can really, really hurt. So I'm so proud of what you've done protecting people, and I'm also really excited to hear your stories. So cool.
Thank you. All right, I'm a little bit short, but that's okay. We'll make this work.
Just stand to the side.
You're allowed to
We're allowed to walk. Oh, that's okay. All right. So we are going to talk about Facebook communities. So for that, mostly means Facebook groups. So we are going to talk you through our experience. We purchased Network NZ at the beginning of last year, and we've had a journey. So this is talking about our journey, and hopefully some of the information we share with you can help. I think a lot of you are starting groups or thinking about starting groups, so hopefully you can take some gems away with you to help you on your journey. So I think let's just start with Facebook groups in general. I think social media is just that, it's social. And I think back in the day we used to get to know our neighbours in our local communities, and we used to connect with our local book clubs and these sorts of things. So I think Facebook has basically become the online version of that. And people are now connecting by interest online, and we're connecting across continents, we're connecting across oceans, we're connecting across the world. And I think that's what brought our group together, was a common interest of business owners. And I think, when you're looking to start your own groups, that's probably what you're thinking about is, the common interests of people that may want to join your communities. It's become our new sort of village. It's become our new neighbourhood. We go there to connect by passion and by interest. So it can be a really interesting place, and I think that, we as humans, we love to connect with other people. It's a big drive for us. We have this need to be accepted into a community, and it's great when you connect with somebody else who shares an interest with you and has some sort of common passion. It's an intrinsic human need for us, and I think creating communities, as much as it's a bit of an advertising space for Facebook, it is also a need for us, and I think it's a great place for us to engage with each other. And there are things that we face on our journey that can make it unpleasant, but you know what, that's life. We face these things in life as well, and I think we need some tools to deal with that. So it's all about bringing people together. These are a few of the faces you might have seen around the conference recently. These are a few of our members. We've got a couple in the group. We just thought we'd share that with you.
Cool. So a little bit about Network New Zealand's history. So you may know that it was started by Michelle Gulovich back in 2012. So she first started the business as a place where you can have, get a bit of support. Oopsie, one too many. Come together, and you may be working home alone on your own business, and you want, she just had this vision of a place where people can come and get support as business owners in New Zealand. So back in 2012, before this was really a thing, Michelle had the foresight to bring together like-minded people, and so way back when Facebook liked to give pages good reach, it started with a page. And then in 2015, she brought in the paid membership model, and that's when Network NZ was founded as a business. And Mandy was one of the first members of Network NZ, so she's been in there since the inception of the paid membership model. So she's been around the block a few times.
I don't know if that
before.
right.
And then in 2016, there used to be a free group, and in 2016 Michelle made the decision to remove the free group and have it all as a paid membership model, which at the time that's what was indicating to her in the market, and that's the direction she decided to move into, and that's when Mandy recruited me into Network NZ paid model. So I've been there for a while as well. And then in 2017, Michelle decided to bring back in the free group. This is when you started seeing lead magnets and things like that, where you can provide some value before they commit to spending their dollars with you, and just bring in the whole free model where you can go back to supporting all of the small businesses in New Zealand, not just those who pay you. So it was a good place for anyone to join. And also in 2017 saw the inaugural Network NZ Business Awards, and that was a really cool experience. It was really designed to celebrate New Zealand business, and that's coming back again this year, so that's pretty exciting. And then, unfortunately, due to Michelle's declining health at the end of 2017, she decided to embark on the journey to find new owners for the business, and that's when we put our offer in, and the announcement was made in late 2017 that we would be buying the business from her and taking it over in early 2018, which led to 2018, where we, in January, settled on the business. We had a handover period with Michelle, and the real fun began. So Network NZ's been established for quite some time, and which meant it had a really good culture going on, and there was a lot of members there. There was a lot of things happening, and how, as new owners, we came in. We're too short. It's all good.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's all good. Our journey with Network NZ has been a very interesting one, to say the least. At first, when you buy a new business, you're filled with excitement, you're filled with ideas and plans and things that you're going to do. So you're on the up, you hit handover and you go, holy crap, what have we done? So you start coming down the euphoria ladder, and pretty much basically on the first day we took over, the first hater showed their face. So the bullying thing was very real from day one for us, which we really just weren't expecting. You come into a community of business owners, you think, everyone's here kind of on the same wavelength, we're here to do the same thing, we're here to help each other. You just really aren't expecting this to show its face. As the announcement went out, both of our phones went with someone, the first person trying to influence what we did. So, it already then was showing up. So it was interesting. And then, as you start this new job, like imagine if you go and get a job and you're on this learning curve and you're learning all these new skills, you make a few mistakes, you try things out, they don't work, but you're doing that in front of thousands of people. There was a few moments there where we tried to implement a few new things. They didn't go quite as planned, or people weren't expecting us to change things. People didn't want us to change things. They don't like change. So, the reception was less than amazing. But, we had to, rise up and figure out how we're going to deal with this, because this is just something we weren't expecting. So we'll go through this more, but this is the overview of the journey. So we went on this journey to have a think about what are our values in this community? How are we going to continue forward? Because, Michelle chose us as the owners because we had very similar values to her. She knew that we would respect her values and what she had as the vision for the business. And, she trusted in us to take it forward. But we had big shoes to fill in what people were used to, what they expected from the person running the business. And, while the values were really shared, it became very apparent that they were her values and we were trying to implement them, and that was causing a disconnect for people. So we really had to establish our own values, and Mandy's going to go into that in much more detail, but that work was really a key point for us, and establishing the values in your community is such an important part of what you're going to do in your Facebook groups. So we had the values, and then we had a little bit of turmoil, because now we had people who didn't really fit in with the values that we had established, and this is where we had to really put on our big girl pants, make some hard decisions, have hard conversations, and we made the decision to remove some people, which we don't do very lightly, and remove people from the community that just were, at the forefront of the bad behaviour. And, from that day forward, it was great. We didn't dread going into our own groups, which was, really key for us. But the other thing that we decided to do during this time was that we shared our story with our community. Because before this time, we didn't know where to turn. We didn't know who to look to for help. So in us sharing our story with our community, there was real power in. We've just opened bare and said, look guys, we have been bullied like you can't imagine. And the support and encouragement that came from there, and just realizing that we are real people, we've got real feelings, what you do say hurts. It just helped as part of the changeover process. So when you're creating a new Facebook group, you may not have the same fight, but establishing your values and just bearing your person behind the screen is very important. So, yeah.
How did you do that? Like, was it a video post or?
It was just a written post.
Yeah.
Post?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a
And
written
you just
post.
shared what had happened? And then what?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean,
That's
we didn't really go
Yeah.
into sort of specific details of things, but we
Yeah.
kind of went through the fact that we were being bullied and how we felt about it, basically.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
a really emotive thing, and it wasn't something we felt comfortable with. It was really uncomfortable, but
Yeah.
it needed to happen, and I think it was really cool. We got a lot of
And
support.
everyone would have had your back.
Yeah.
After that point, they're like, no, that's not okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was really obvious to people who didn't
Yeah.
as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So from there on, that was pretty much the turning point. That was when we reached acceptance that this is now, the way forward is now a positive way. We're now, we're building a community with all of the people that are on board. We're attracting the right people. All the messaging is right. We're there authentically. We're real people, and we're showing up for you in our community. So it was just, about that whole thing.
Cool. Okay, so one of the big things that we did is a culture change. And if you're starting a Facebook community, I strongly urge you to set your own culture, because the culture is going to develop whether you start it or not. And at least if you set the culture, then you were taking control of that. Because when we first started, we were like, hey, we're part of this community, we know this culture, we've been here for a long time, and we want to be a part of this. But as soon as you're the one running the group, you are not part of the culture. You are treated very differently, and for some reason, you just have a target on your back, So it's really important, and kindness is really magic. That's like an actual picture that we use a lot. And kindness is one of our values. We actually sat down and we had a strong think about all of the values that run through our lives, because I think that's an important thing. Your business is an extension of your life, and I think that the values you hold as a person should run through to your businesses. I mean, you will have some that are business specific, but I think that there are some values that you as a person hold dear, and the things that are important to you, and they should flow through. And kindness is a big one for me personally. I have 2 young children, and I believe that I want to instill in them that, they should grow up and be kind to everybody because it's the right thing to do. Not because there's a treat at the end of it or that there's some positive reward that comes from it, but it's the right thing to do because we are all people, and it doesn't matter if you're on a computer or if you're dealing with someone in person. Kindness is such a key to life in general. So kindness is one of our values. Our other values include integrity. We believe that everyone should engage in a way that, you're getting what you're going to do what you say you're going to do. And I think that's so important, especially in a business community. And I think if you are a business running a group for your customers, that's a really important thing. You need to, if you say that you're going to do something, you need to follow through with it. One of our other values is positivity. And we brought that in because we did have a lot of negative experiences. And we were like, hey, we don't want that here. We don't want you to engage with each other in a negative way. And we definitely don't want you to be negative to us. We also are people behind a computer screen. We're not just some sort of avatar that's floating around. So we had to redesign our code of conducts. We redesigned all of our messaging. We rewrote all of our sort of daily engagement posts that go out. And in all of them, we started putting these things through. On all of our posts that went out, there was a line at the bottom that said, Network NZ is a place that supports people in a positive and kind way. And, this messaging was on everything that we did. And we rewrote our code of conducts. We now have it expressly there. These are all of our values. We remind everyone that when you're engaging in this community, you're engaging with people. Don't forget that. Every engagement that you have with us, even as admin, we have a VA that helps us as well. When you're engaging with any of the admin team, we are people too, and we're going to remember you and how you engage with us. So it's important. And I think if you're a business owner and you're engaging with people in a negative way, they're not going to buy from your business, and they're not going to encourage somebody else to buy from your business. So it's really, really important. The communication is really important. I think this journey was actually really important for Candice and I because we're actually both really strong people. We're actually really, really strong people. And there was a time when we actually felt so helpless. Bullying actually it makes you feel like you have nowhere to go. And I think it was a big thing for us to put up that post, but I think it was a really big turning point for us when we kind of put our hands up and said we're being bullied. Because I think a lot of people don't do that. They're really scared to do that, and it took a lot of us to do that. But I think after that we kind of got a little bit more comfortable about being real with people, and I think, after sharing that, it was just this massive weight off us. And I think now it's okay, sometimes we have bad weeks, and I'll go into the group and I'll say, hey, you know what, this week was a bad week. We dropped some balls, and you know what, there's a lot of balls in the air, and every business owner has that, right? It's relatable. So sometimes you drop a ball, and that's okay, and people can relate with that. So I think Facebook groups are about that. It's about connecting with people and having people connect with your message. Not everyone is going to have a bad week on the same week as you, but they're going to remember that they had a bad week like 2 weeks ago, and they'll be like, oh, you know what, that's totally okay, next week will be fine, So I think if you're dealing with customers as well, some customers are going to, whatever products or services you offer, you're going to have a customer who's having a bad experience. And if your group is a place that they feel comfortable coming to share their experiences and engage with each other, and that naturally happens. It doesn't matter if you're selling skincare or baby products or whatever, they're going to come there and they're going to go, oh my God, like my child just weed all over the floor, like what the hell, and somebody else will be like, oh my God, my kid does that too, but that's what it's about. It's social media. It's social. We're there to engage with each other on a people level, and everybody peoples. But yeah, so the messaging, and I think the whole idea of being authentic and having that culture that is just real. So I think the culture needs to revolve around you, because if you are representing your business, it needs to revolve around the values that your business holds, and that's going to be the values that you hold as a person as well. I think that's a big thing. And don't be scared of change. Everyone's scared of change. Don't be scared of change. Change is a good thing. And you know what? Evolving as you go is a completely natural thing as well. I think, if we had predicted where we are now a year ago, we wouldn't have predicted this at all. But I actually think that this journey has been such a great lesson for us. We've learned so much. And I think, we have made it like our little journey, and I guess that's why we're here today, to basically encourage people to speak up if you're being bullied. And we want to support other people who are running groups, because, I don't think, like we said before we started, there's nowhere for group admins to go, hey, how do you deal with this thing, you know? And everyone else knows about it. Like if you talk to other group admins, they're like, oh, that happens all the time in my group too. So, you know, we need these conversations to happen, yeah. So flowing on from that, you need boundaries. You definitely need boundaries. I know we have the loveliest people in the world, and even the loveliest people in the world can challenge you to great degrees. So you need to set boundaries. You need to have guidelines in your groups as to how people can engage. And this is a living document. This is not something you're going to write once and it's going to be forever there. And when you first write it, it's going to be a list of don't do this and don't do that. And that's fine, but it can be really negative for people coming into your group. So just be mindful of that. So if you want to join our group and scope ours out, that's totally okay. But we've rewritten it like multiple times where we actually start off and say, hey, this is what our group's all about. This is how you can engage in our group. And we actually give some examples because our group is a little bit complicated in terms of the engagement posts and things like that. And then we kind of say, hey, look, these are the guidelines for, you know, what you can and can't post, and these are the days you can do it, and, you know, whatever else. And then we just have this, you know, constant messaging, be kind to each other, remember that we're people behind the screens, you know, just this whole concept of being kind and positivity and all this kind of thing. So try and make your code of conduct, like you don't want it to be an ebook, but you would like it to be, you know, have that messaging. Have that messaging of kindness, have that messaging of positivity. You know, welcome to the group. We're so excited to have you here. Like when people join our group now, I tag them in the code of conduct so that they see the document because people don't go looking for it. And then I also give them a welcome post and we say, hey, welcome to the group. We'd love for you to do an intro into the group and tell us about you and your business and, you know, all of these sorts of things. And, you know, we have a blog post written by a lovely Gemma for us on how to write a great intro into the group to give people ideas on, you know, what they can and can't say and things like that. And it's really cool because people come and introduce themselves and it makes them feel welcome. We welcome them into a community and you're welcoming them as a person. So they need that ability to say hello and, you know, respond to them and welcome them and, you know, that sort of thing. But yeah, definitely have your boundaries and stick to them because you always get people who message you and go, I know I can't do this thing, but can I do this thing? And you're like, no. So you need to stick to your guns. You really need to stick to your guns and you're going to have people challenge you. But as soon as you allow one person to do it, then it snowballs. So yeah, I think, you know, like any other governing body that we have, we need to have these boundaries in place. And it doesn't need to be a negative thing, but it needs to be there. You definitely need to have them.
Yes.
When, is there a couple of answers?
Yeah.
Cool. When you first join the group, is there a way or a tool that sends a direct message or a welcome message?
No, and we feel like that's a little bit spammy.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
We do have a welcome email that goes once they're accepted into the group. We've got
Is it the Facebook?
yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
when
nice.
when people join our group, we collect the email address. It's a requirement for joining that they subscribe to our newsletter. So yeah, we add them into an email sequence
Yeah.
that they get a
So-
welcome and they,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it goes alongside the tagging and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right.
Cool. So naturally, in any business environment, you've got some competitors, and you need to understand where you fit in the market. We're of very much the opinion that there's more than enough business to go around, and it's really easy to look around and go, oh man, they're doing so well on this thing, and how am I ever going to do this? You know, you can look at your competitors, just don't dwell there. Go and have a look at the activity, see what's working, decide what's not, and then come back to what you're doing and just focus on what you're doing and do it well. You know, your flavour, your values, your offering is going to be what's happening in your community. So have a look, but don't dwell. And you can say, well, they've got a community of, you know, thousands, you know, I'm not going to have anyone in my group. Don't even worry about that. There's, you know, people will come if there's value to be had by you. So, you know, establish your position and go with it. Just take the action and get going, because if you start today, you'll be way ahead in 12 months' time. So just, yeah, get going. So to come back a little bit to bullying and how you deal with bullying, I found this lovely quote that says, blowing out someone else's candle doesn't make yours shine any brighter. So this to us is really meaningful in the fact that, by putting someone else down, what are you really gaining in life? So, you can bring more light by adding more light. And this is how we ended up dealing with the bullying situation as a whole, is we shone a light where bullying once was. Bullying cannot exist in an environment where there's light. So, shining the light on bullying is the key part into dealing with it. When you've got people that are just coming into your place, and this may be, email complaints, it may be on your Facebook page, it may be in your groups, they may be trying to get other people on board with whatever they're, hell-bent about that day, and they're just being a keyboard warrior. They're not thinking about anything else rather than their vendetta that day. They're coming in there and they're just trying to prove a point. So this is something that is alive and well. There's a lot of conversation about it this weekend, but it's not often something that's spoken about readily. So you've really got to think about how you're going to deal with this in your own situation, and you've really got to try and avoid a situation where the pack mentality sets in. So that's where people have got this thing that they need to get off their chest, and they're just trying to get more oomph behind it to get the impact. And you've really just got to recognise bullying for what it is when it happens. So it may come in many forms, and that might be from trying to control your business and what you do with it, shaming you. That may be privately or in a public setting. That public could be in a number of ways. They could just basically be attacking you right out and trying to get their way. So it can come in many forms, and often it takes you a little while to go, actually, hang on, what is your motivation behind what you're trying to do to me right now? Because it doesn't feel nice. So sometimes it might take a little while to recognise it for what it actually is. And we've actually got someone in our community who talks about the internet being a place where avatars interact. And you're like, well, actually, no, I'm a person using a computer, you're a person using a computer. We're two humans interacting here. There's nothing there's nothing that's an avatar about this. We're real, we've all got human emotions, and let's just, be human to each other. So, we counteracted that bullying with the positive messaging and by responding to people. And sometimes people need to be given time, and you'll recognise the different posts for what they are. Sometimes people need to be responded to immediately before it goes out of control. Sometimes things need to be removed. We do that very seldomly because, freedom of speech and all the rest. But there's times when comments need to be turned off, where it's just not going to go any further, and you've said your piece, we've said our piece, and that's where we're going to leave it. But in how you respond to it is really important. You can, someone can come at you and go, whatever their problem is, and you can just go back with kindness and go, thank you so much for sharing your opinion. I really appreciate that you've taken the time out of your day to let me know how you feel. It's just thanking them rather than going, well, you did this and I did that, and you're just starting this whole conversation that's really negative. And you'll know the posts where it's just not going to go any further. And one thing is just get it offline. Go in, get it out of the public arena. So if you've got something going on your page and there's more to the story, say, look, I need to find out more about this. Can I email you or can I call you? Just get it out of the public eye. You've responded, they've whatevered, and we're going to deal with this, and there is going to be an outcome. So, coming at it from a kindness point of view and just say, actually, thank you. What are they going to say? Oh, well, actually, no. It doesn't quite work like that. So, but if it is getting out of control, like Rick said yesterday, there are places you can go for support, like NetSafe, and if you're in danger, go to the police. But if you experience bullying in any way, shape, or form, and you need support, get in touch with one of us. We're happy to support you through it. You know, we're here and we've experienced it. We're big advocates for kindness and shining the light where bullying once was.
If you need us to join your group and help you,
Yeah.
that's
We're
fine.
more than
We'll do
happy.
that as well. We'll do that as well.
Yeah, but you know, we've spoken about bullying quite a lot today, but you know, that's just part of our journey. It is not our entire story. It is not the entire journey. It is one bit of it. Bullying does not get to have the spotlight in our journey. Yeah, and we just need to keep the conversation going, but we need to turn it to a positive. We can overcome this. Bullying is just tiny.
So we just wanted to talk a bit about online networking, because any group that you're starting is basically people networking. So anything it is, if it's a group for your product-based business, or if it's a community page, or anything like that, people are basically engaging with each other, and that is networking. So we thought we would go through a few of these things to help you out. So why online networking? Okay, it's a convenient and flexible way for people to engage. Just like we said in the beginning, you know, before we used to go to the local library or whatever to engage with people who shared interests, and now you can share interests with people around the world. So you can do it in your pajamas at home, you can do it in the middle of the night if you can't sleep. It's very convenient and it's on your own schedule, and we love flexibility these days, we're millennials. So it's networking on your own terms, and you can get support at any time of the day. And I think that's what makes our business really unique is, you know, there isn't really any other sort of business networking places where you can go for the kind of support that we offer. The reach is wider. So if you have something that is potentially saleable outside of New Zealand, you can basically sell to other countries. My other business is an embroidery business, and I actually have a lot of customers in the US and Australia, which is really cool. And they come and join my New Zealand-based embroidery group because they like the community. So it's actually really cool to collect people with different ideas from different places. And it's just really cool to build that hub of people and reach that wider audience. I mean, there's no other way that you can do that without the internet and social media. And it's a great place for people to get a bit real with each other, you know. You can actually build really strong connections. It's not like you building an online relationship over here and a real relationship over there. You know, these are real people, and you're actually building an actual relationship with someone online. And it's actually really cool. I mean, we've met some people today that are members of our community that we've engaged with and never met in person, like Jay. We met Jay this week. But I mean, that's actually really cool. And it's like you meet someone and you hug them because you're like, hey, we've known you like forever, just like you would if you'd met them in person 6 years ago. So I think, you know, this concept that we have like an online thing and an offline thing, it's actually all the same thing. You know, we're all the same person and we're all engaging online. So think about it that, you know, if you're creating this community or you're having people engage, they're actually engaging as if they were in person. You know, this is the sort of idea that social media has given us, is that we can actually engage with real people in real time, in our own time. And you can build these really great relationships. So how do you network online? So you start with the relationships, right? No one wants to sit there and go sell, sell, sell. So if you're starting a Facebook group, don't expect it to be somewhere that you're going to put all of your advertising posts one after another, because it's going to die. People aren't going to want to be there. You don't want to be in those groups. Those groups are not awesome. So what you want to do is create some engagement, right? If you are starting a group for some sort of demographic, say it's like mums. Clearly I'm a mum, so I'm sorry, this theme has happened. It's just happened. So let's say your target, ninjas. Do ninjas hang out on Facebook? That's my question.
Yes.
But they're always on
Do
silent mode.
Not a good example. Not a good example. Okay, so mums, right? So let's say you're targeting mums. Let's say you sell some sort of nappy. Okay, and you want to target mums, right? You can start your Facebook community and don't be like, hey, it's going to be like my business community. Start and be like, mums who want to chat while breastfeeding, or like, let's talk about, you know, something like nappy training or potty training or, you know, whatever. Make it something relevant. Remember, someone's going to search for your group. They're not going to search for your business name. Some people might search for your business name, but most of the time, Facebook groups, people are looking for an interest. They're trying to find some sort of commonality with people. So you need to use the thing that is going to help people find you and connect with people in your group with a common interest. So start with that, and then you want to provide some value to them. So this doesn't have to be, like, you don't have to give all your products away for free, but you might want to do maybe a giveaway. Hey, come join my group and you can enter the giveaway. That's a good way to try and recruit people in. You can post engagement posts, you know, like, hey, where do you guys find resources for your toddlers at home when you're trying to, like, do the washing? Or, you know, things like that. And you can get people engaging with each other. So that's the beauty of groups, is that people will actually do a lot of that engagement for you. You don't have to engage on every single post, because your group members will engage with each other, which is really cool. So you need to just provide some value. So I think there's this sort of line, you know, you don't want to not give them anything. You don't want to give them all of your stuff for free. So you need to find something that's going to give them that bit of value. It's like sort of that bit of an opt-in, you know, that bit of a lead magnet. So I can't even think of examples now. All I can think of is like mums and nappies. But you kind of want to just pull them in, right? So I suppose for us, you know, it's business networking. So we pull in business owners, and, you know, we say to them, hey, give us your email address and we'll add you to our newsletter, and we send out like some awesome tips about, you know, being a business owner. And they come in there and they can ask questions and they can engage with others, and we have engagement posts where they can, you know, tell people about what they do. They can go in there and help each other. Hey, I've got this problem with like whatever piece of software or whatever, and people are engaging with each other, and that's where the value is, right? The value is not going to be the information that you necessarily giving them. The value is in the platform that you're providing, and you're giving them the opportunity to engage with people and problem solve, right? Because everyone has problems, right? And everyone's trying to solve problems. And that's probably why they're in your group, because you as a business owner are solving a problem that they have. And people network with people. I know we spoke about this with a few people at the table sessions before, but it's social media. We social people, we want to connect with people. People don't want to engage with your page. And to be fair, if you're joining a group as your page, you're probably going to get trolled, because people are going to see you as some anonymous person. Then you are going to be seen like an avatar. And I think that, you know, that's one of the things that we find with Network NZ. People forget that we're people. They see Network NZ and they're like, oh, this is a business like Vodafone or like Spark or one of these other things. And they're like, oh, it's just like this faceless thing, you know, and then all of a sudden it just gives them some sort of like right to say stuff to you that they would never say to your face. You know, a lot of the time you stand there and you're just like, but if I was standing in front of you right now, you would not be saying this to my face. Like, you know, it's this whole concept, you know, like all of these human studies from, you know, many years ago where they say, you know, like, I suppose during the World Wars and stuff, like how can people do these like horrible things to each other? And it's because they gave them numbers instead of names. You know, it's creating that anonymity and the whole like taking the person away. Yeah. So don't forget that. People interact with people. You know, engages yourself in your group. Be a part of it. Own it. Be that person, you know. Just be in there and be the owner and just do it. If you got the trolls, deal with the trolls. Take ownership of it and hold your power. Don't give it away.
I feel like that needs a round of applause.
Oh,
Thanks.
It was just a
We should have just ended
very
there.
strong. So the number one top tip
4
of...
o'clock now. Just
Okay,
Okay.
cool, thank you.
Through till 4:25.
Yeah,
Cool. So the one thing you'll see in a lot of networking groups, Facebook groups, basically anywhere, is the sleazy salesman. You'll recognise him a mile away because he just wants to sell you stuff. You know, you think about the old school car salesman with the, you know, orange fake tan and the Hawaiian shirt. I actually bought a car from a guy like that once. His office smelt like fake tan. It
Was
was
his name
great.
Bill?
It was memorable.
Just saying.
So this is someone that we don't want you to be. So meet Bill. Bill sells constantly. He's going, hey, buy my stuff. He's going, I know you didn't ask about, and this post is completely unrelated, but here's a link to where you can buy my stuff. And then excuse the private message, but you should totally buy my stuff. Yeah. Online networks are littered with these kinds of people, and they're simply there to just sell their stuff. And this strategy is really flawed because there's no relationship. They just want to sell you stuff. And then, when you're coming into your own group, your guidelines and your moderation of those guidelines is what will help with setting the culture, setting the tone, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. It's all good and well to have a code of conduct, but if you're not going to moderate accordingly, you're going to have a very unhappy membership base if they're receiving these private messages because people think that's okay, or they're going to just see all these spammy posts because you can't be bothered to remove them or turn on post approval beforehand. So there's a bit of work that goes into keeping Bill at bay, because he's pretty persistent. He likes to sell his stuff. So he'll be the one sending unsolicited private messages. He'll like to tell people how awesome he is, and he does not participate in any conversation except where he thinks he can sell something. So do not be like Bill. As simple as that. You'll know Bills because they'll be on all the promo posts, but you won't see them helping anybody else in the community. They won't be commenting anywhere else or providing any value. So, that's Bill.
No offence to any Bills.
No Bills were harmed.
No Bills were harmed. All right, relationships. So relationships are basically a key part of social media, right? We've sort of covered this in a lot of the other slides, but I think that, when people are engaging, they're looking for commonality. They're looking for the things that will be mutually beneficial to them. They're looking for the ways that they can I think, you want to say, we want to make friends. And I think even as business owners, we make friends, right? You do. It may not be the same friendships that you have with people outside of your business, but you will create friendships. And you will create friendships with your customers as well. It's a natural part of life. We build these relationships, and you find these commonalities, and you're like, hey, you like this thing, I like this thing too, let's be friends, So I think it's a natural part of Facebook groups, is that you're going to have this. And you're going to do this with your customers, you're going to do this with people who just join your group and never buy your stuff. You're going to, find this everywhere. So just keep that relationship focused. Remember that they're people. Remember that they want to engage with each other. They want to engage with you too. That's why they're joining your group. And that's why you want them to join your group, because you want them to engage with you. You want them to engage with whatever products and services you do have on offer. But just don't be like Bill, okay? That's going to really put people... But you want to build some strategic alliances and partnerships. So I know I had conversations with a few people who were looking to start Facebook groups. And I've actually kind of said to some people, hey, why don't you get in touch with your local community Facebook groups and build relationships with the admins? Why don't you get in touch with people who have these other groups and, make friends with them? These are actually strategic relationships you can have. There's more than enough business for us all to go around. Get in touch with other people who are doing something similar and say, hey, I know that we're competitors, or I know that, we have these businesses who are maybe sitting in a similar area or whatever, but let's work together. We all have our point of differences. There's always going to be a reason that someone will choose you over somebody else, and maybe they'll choose somebody else over you. And it's never going to be like a personal thing. It's just going to be that they connect with their brand or whatever. And because your brand is an extension of yourself and your values, you are going to draw those people into you that connect with those things, that share those views of the world with you. And this is how we create better business, right? It's not all about stealing each other's customers. It's all about creating community and helping each other. I mean, as a business owner, we're all here to help somebody. We all start our business because we see a need to help somebody do something or buy something or whatever. So just keep that in mind. It's not just a group. It's not just this thing that you start. There's actually this whole people aspect that goes into it. And think about that, the relationships. How can you foster the relationships between the members of the community, and how can you get them engaging with each other? Think about those things. And be business smart. I think, we join Facebook groups, and I think, a lot of people join our free community, and we've got over 7,000 people in there. We cannot vet every person that joins our group, and you will not be able to either. So I think that, we encourage you, and we encourage you to instill within your groups that people need to be smart when dealing with each other. You know, they need to do their due diligence. If they're going to engage in some sort of collaboration or business opportunity with each other, you need to make sure that you're checking it out and doing your own research around it.
Are they real?
Pardon?
Are they real?
Yeah, are they real? Are they real? Yeah, and have really good terms and conditions. It's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Now, the nitty-gritty about Facebook and Facebook group hacks. So, Kat had some awesome ones this morning, and I'll build on a few of those. But, yeah, the first bit is use really good scheduling software. You can't be present 100% of the time, so the show must go on. So have some really good scheduling software, and that, yeah, it means commitment and consistent activity without a huge amount of input. You know, you can set up some consistent stuff that happens all the time, and you know, yes, your Facebook group is a commitment. So I'm by no means saying this is the easy way out, but this just helps you along that journey. I'm just going to say that. That's all good. So we've got some pretty strict requirements on our software, so I've pretty much researched most of what was available, and we use eClincher, which is not a very widely known platform, but you know, it has a lot of permissions for groups, which a lot of the other software doesn't have, especially after the Cambridge scare. A lot of the permissions in groups were stripped out of a lot of software, so you just got to make sure that whatever software you use allows you to do your activity in groups.
Use the free trials and suss it all out first before you pay anything.
Try them all out, because you know they promise all these things, and you're like, well, actually, in reality, it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
eClincher is the one we use.
It's built like by developers, so it's not pretty, but it's very functional.
Yeah. So we have an agency license, which gives us the ability to have more than one business in there. But they're really cool. They're very responsive people. On the live chat, I had the COO on the phone when we were having issues after when the Cambridge thing was happening, and we couldn't post anything into our groups, and they're just really responsive. So if whatever package is not available on the website, chat them, and they'll make a package for you.
They
It's
custom
really
build
good.
it. They're amazing.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think we pay just over $150 US a month, I think. I can't remember. Something like that. Something like it.
Mm.
But, you know, there's other software that we looked at that was pretty good, but because we wanted Facebook page to have evergreen cycles plus all sorts of other things, and Instagram and all of LinkedIn, everything, we wanted all on one platform. We had this big list that we wanted this software to meet. No, we're not hard customers at all. So Post Planner was really good. That's if you're kind of your own admin in your own group. That was really good. Because there's two of us, we wanted to be able to see what each other had scheduled and be able to make changes in the software, what Post Planner doesn't do. There's Agora Pulse, Co-Schedule, Meet Edgar, Buffer, and Hootsuite, plus a whole lot more. And I've got a full charted analysis. If you really want to get in touch with me, I can show you which one's most suitable. Then have a look, how you can keep the conversation going. So keep that structured activity going, and you know, if you see someone's post is sitting there for days without an answer, or a day without, so you pick your time frame, go and engage, and you know, hey, is anyone able to help, or give some support to them, or whatever. Just keep the conversation going, keep the group moving, because if it gets stale, it'll become a wasteland, really. And then be clear on what your stance is on promotion in the group, because naturally people, you know, hey, try my lipstick that I now sell, or whatever they're doing. So be clear on what's allowed, and if it's allowed, how often is it allowed, how is it allowed, you know, those sorts of things, your code of conduct again. Being really clear on what does your community offer, and what does it stand for, what is its purpose. So, you know, is it a local community group? Is it a VIP group for your customers? Is it a business group. What are you doing in that community? Why should people join you? Why should they spend their time there? What are they getting out of it? So be really clear on your objectives, and everything else will flow out of it. Attracting people to your groups. So now Kat mentioned this morning that Facebook is in favour of groups at the moment. They'll organically promote it. So you need to attract the right people into your group. So make sure that you've got a lot of things that, tell people what your group is about. Make sure you've got a good cover photo. Make sure that intros are right. Make sure that people know what they're getting themselves into when they see your group popping up in the right-hand side as a recommendation. So, attracting the right people means that the culture inside the group needs to be right as well, and you're providing value, which means people are staying in the group, they're not leaving. And tell people about it, and then organic growth is a big one. And then being seen inside the group, and your group being seen everywhere else. Interact as your personal profile. Mandy mentioned it before, rather than your business profile. Because your posts that are happening in the group are appearing on people's news feeds. If it's your personal profile versus a business profile, it's most likely to end up in the feed rather than not coming out at all, basically, is what they do to page posts in a group. And then make sure that you're getting engagement, you're consistently showing up, you've got that structured, predictable activity, you're engaging on posts, so when there's people, even if as a member of another community, that you're going and just, interacting with people, helping them out, commenting, saying, hey, that's awesome, congratulations, you've had a great week, just be a member of a community as well. And then, in terms of stuff to put into your group, things that people can engage with really easily. So, tell us what happened this week, what was a great win this week, whatever. And then give them opportunities to talk about themselves and what they do. So, tell us about how many kids you have if you've got a mum's group, or, how old were you when you had your first child, or, whatever. So our people love to promote themselves, so post your link, post your Instagram, we'll follow you, all those sorts of things.
People love to talk about themselves in general.
Yeah.
It's big engagement.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
And then, we have got theme days and theme weeks, and we've got anytime hashtags. I don't know, some other speakers this weekend have said hashtags don't work on Facebook, but in a group setting, it's a really good way to organise your content. So make use of the hashtags, and then also make use of the inbuilt group functionality. And Facebook takes its time rolling this out sometimes, and because our groups are so old, we often are the last to get these functions. So everyone's like, oh, have you tried this? I'm like, no, not yet. It's not there yet. But make use of the joining questions. Like Kat said, often if you've got a free community, it's your lead magnet. Gather the email address, get their information before they get in, so you can continue that conversation off Facebook as well. Build your business assets, because Facebook is not your own. Turn on your post approvals if you feel like you need it. You may not in a small community, but sometimes you definitely should. Have those guidelines set up. Facebook's got the ability now to put in the guidelines before people join, and then it also, as a moderator of a group, it's now got the functionality to give them feedback to say, we've declined this post because it doesn't, because of this
And also
guideline.
when you delete a post, you can tell people why you've deleted the post as well.
So that's been rolling out over the last little while. There's also different kinds of groups that you can have. So there's buy and sell groups, there's learning module groups, there's like a whole raft of groups. So depending on what your objective is of your group, make sure that you select the appropriate group type. You can change it, so you don't have to feel like, I'm stuck with this. So,
and a really good hack for you is have like a private group that you can test stuff in beforehand.
We've got a private
group. We just it's just a group that Candice and I are in, and we just use it to like test the size of our cover photos, and we can like just change group types and stuff. Because if you're doing that in like your main groups, and then all of a sudden 7,000 people are getting notified that you're changing the group to something, and then you change it again and you change it again, they're going to be like, what the hell are you doing? So yeah, have a test group.
Yeah, good hack. And then you can have pinned posts and announcement posts, so if you've got things that people need to see or refer to, often use those. And there's always new releases coming from Facebook. There was an update a little while ago, and they're going to be integrating paid membership into their Facebook group, so that's coming soon, which is awesome. But yeah, there's lots of developments always, so keep on top of it. This is us, and we've given you lots of stuff today, but yeah, if you ever want to get in touch with us, those are all of our contact details, so feel free to reach out if you need any help or guidance, or you need support when you having a hard time or anything like that. Yeah, just feel free to reach out.
We
We're
also
happy
have
to
cards
help.
on our table out there if you want an actual physical one as well.
Yeah, just we're here to support you in your journey to Facebook community, so we're totally open to you getting in touch with us. Yeah, we're happy to help where we can.
And can I just add that, we're just truly passionate about this. Like, we're not, like when we say get in touch with us, it's not for us to try and sell you anything. It's not for us to do anything. It's just that we don't want you to go through a bad experience, and it's something that we can help you with. So by all means, reach out. Like, we do this because we love it. Everything that we do, we're doing with everything we got. We're so passionate about it. And, a lot of our journey, we've grown a lot more passion for a lot more things. And I think it's become really apparent to us that, helping other people admin groups is actually just a really important thing for us as well. So, yeah, feel free to connect with us. Like, even if you just want to say hi and chat and just build that relationship, then we're open to that as well.
Yeah. Has anyone got any questions about anything? It can be as cute as the dog. Facebook Messenger, email, anything really.
Yeah.
We're happy. Yeah.
We kind of work.
Communicate on all platforms.
I've got young kids, and Candice is a night owl, so we kind of have like strange hours. So typically, something in writing is probably a good way.
Can we go back to you?
There you go. Otherwise, we do have cards. We've got a table
Yeah.
out there as well. We've got our business cards there as well with all of our contact details.
Yeah. So, Network NZ is the business Facebook page where you'll get both of us, or Mandy at networknz.nz, Candice at networknz.nz, or our Facebook, our personal Facebook pages as well. Yeah, feel free to do that.
Question.
Of course you can.
You're saying about keeping on top of Facebook changes in the company. How do you guys do sales and review information? It's not very necessarily healthy.
No.
Sorry.
So there's quite a few leaders in the industry who are, so there's, Marie Folio, and there's Social Examiner, and I'm subscribed to Facebook itself. They send you their updates. They're all over it, so, yeah. Social Examiner, yeah. Sorry, mind blank. No worries.
But we also, you'll find that if you join some of the business communities, it sort of gets discussed because people get really excited about it. So sometimes, there'll be like a thread going, oh my God, did you see that such and such is doing X, Y, Z? So it's kind of nice to, people discuss these things because it does affect a lot of people. A lot of people have groups for their businesses these days. So it's exciting to talk about it and, flesh out how this change could impact people and how you can use it, in a really positive way. Yeah.
Yeah, the people who've got groups come and chat about it, yeah.
People chat about all kinds of things. People go on there and go, oh, have you used the software for such and such? Like, how do you use it? And, it's really cool. You get some cool ideas. They answer all the questions you didn't know you had.
Yeah. And we also know when things are going wrong, like, oh, this thing's not working today. Is anybody else having this problem?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, yes, actually.
That's why I couldn't log in.
I just need to give it 5 minutes or
Yeah.
give it a couple of hours and I'll come back to it. So, yeah. And you're like, why is it not loading? It's actually a problem. Face bugs are everywhere.
Yes, they are.
One question I had, with the forums that I've set up before in the past, I've had sometimes a relatively good community, but it's just that it feels like you kind of got to wind and crank until you get enough engagement to actually get people talking and then feeling comfortable, and then it fuels itself, and then you have a whole different set of problems.
Yeah.
For me, that's sometimes, for some of the groups I've run, that's been the it's kind of taken a long time to kind of get viral or get enough
People.
momentum.
Yeah.
And so, there's obviously the Facebook ads that was mentioned before. Are there any other tricks that you have for the growth side of things? And you don't have to answer it.
Marketing, really. It's about traditional telling people that you exist. You can't be your best kept secret. So, in any of your working relationships, even calling on members of your actual community and saying, "Hey, do you like it here?" Tell other people. So it's just about leveraging on the tools that you've got available to you, and put it on your email signature. Hey, I've got this group. Come and join me.
And you know what another big thing is that a lot of people don't do, and I kind of understand to some degree why some people don't, but on your personal profile on Facebook, add that you work at this business, because if you are in a community, like for us, it's very much a people-based thing, right? We want people to interact with people, and we don't want you to constantly be like, oh, I'm Candice from the Marketing Bakery. This is a piece of information. So add it there, because if you're just engaging with people pretty much anywhere, I picked up customers from all over the place, right? Because they can hover over your name, and it pops up and goes, oh, Mandy works at blah, blah, blah. So it's just a good way for them to just link through to your business if you have it, and then have it. Like if you're connecting your group to your Facebook page, it will actually come up under communities on your Facebook page, and people can go and join the groups that are part of your business. So tell people about them, post every so often on your page and go, hey, did you know that we have this awesome community, and in this community we do X, Y, Z. Come join us. You're missing out. Like, what are you doing with your life?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm part of Network Institute. It's a wonderful community, and I think you should all join. This is by the by.
Thanks.
Sort of. So you talked about Bill.
Yes.
What do you do if Bill pops up in your group?
We've had a few bills, and we find it's best to communicate with Bill directly and just say, hey, look, the best way to interact in this community is to, engage and build relationships and all of those things, and do a little bit of education with him.
We do find that often Bill doesn't listen.
Yeah.
Speaks a different language.
Yeah.
I guess, for us, we are typically dealing with the kind of sleazy car salesman people, because it's a business networking group, and so these people are, everywhere. And I think that a lot of these people are really stuck in their ways. So the best way that we try and deal with it is communication. So we will sort of comment on the post or something. Like if it's something, like if we're saying like, don't post your links here, and they go post a link, we'll delete the comment and we'll message them and say, hey, you've done this several times. The best way to engage in our community is by doing X, Y, Z. We've got a whole section in our code of conduct that says, hey, this is how you can engage in our community and get the most from it. We also have some blog posts on our website that are going, hey, this is how you can make the most of online networking. So we'll maybe direct them to some resources and say, hey, have a read through these things, maybe just get an idea of how to network online. It is a little bit different to networking in person. It's not like your sort of meetings that you're going to once a week where you're doing your minute speech or whatever, and you're trying to just swap business cards with everyone. It's a bit different, so get your head around it and, whatever else. I mean, if they become quite a pest, we kind of have to just, but, we kind of try and mould first.
I just delete them. Like literally, if I have
Ruthless.
someone, I literally delete the post and then kick them.
Yeah.
Like if it's just a plain, like if it's a clear breach of rules, delete and remove.
We've got some, in particular types of businesses, the get rich quick kind of things, and Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies. We don't allow
MLM.
MLM if they're recruiting for business opportunity.
They can engage in our engagement posts, and they can go, like if we're saying today's a promo post day, they can go underneath there and go, hey, I sell like this MLM product, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
What we need to start is a multi-level marketing Bitcoin.
Could you imagine?
Bags not water running it. But I think it's just about trying to structure them, to fit. And I think that's where the guidelines are important. And it's important to know in your mind what's acceptable in your group and what isn't, and you need to stick to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if your stance is that one and done, then that's cool.
Mm.
It's your community. It's totally up to you. Yeah.
Got time for one more?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just trying to find a place to burn here really because we run a foundation.
Yeah.
We'll be giving stuff away
Okay.
to certain people that qualify actually for New Zealand Gold. So I'm wondering really like as a foundation that are giving resources to teachers in schools, how that fits into your business page. I suppose it doesn't really, does it?
Business.
We're not asking for any money, we're just trying to connect with teachers in schools.
Mm.
We've been giving free resources for years. We've recently run online, but we're just trying to increase our social media presence.
Yeah.
So I guess it doesn't.
Do you know what you should do? Is you should connect with the other guy out there who runs a publishing company and
We are a
is.
publishing company.
Oh, you
Oh,
are?
okay.
Okay, maybe not.
So we're part of Sunshine Box.
Oh, the same.
Oh, okay, same.
business.
Okay, go. I think I spoke to him out there at the
Yeah.
table things.
The Pi Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's run from Sunshine Box.
Okay.
Damien Pi Foundation, we give a lot of stuff away to schools for free. So we're just trying to find a way to connect with more of those people in the community. But I guess it's probably really.
So when I had the conversation with Paul. Sorry, Craig.
Yeah.
I suggested to him that a Facebook group where you kind of talking about free resources for teachers was actually kind of cool. I think there's a lot of teachers that actually hang out on Facebook, and I think they'll be really excited about that kind of thing. And I think while we're sitting at the table, someone else did a quick search, and you know, there's teacher Facebook groups, but I don't think there's ones that are kind of talking about resources. And I mean, there's a lot of engagement stuff. Like when we started talking about it, I actually got really excited and want to join your group already because it's like, but it just sounds really fun. And I think that there's a lot of fun things that you can do with it. I mean, teachers are really excited about sharing resources. You know,
Yeah.
that is something
They
that
like
they are always
ideas.
looking for. They're always looking for ideas. They're willing to share. They're very much a sharing community. They use Pinterest a lot, so you need to be all over Pinterest. We have an awesome blog on Pinterest on our website. But seriously, I think that it's actually a really great place for you to do that. You probably just need to moderate it well because you're probably going to get a few spammy people. But I think teachers in general are not spammy. So I think that the demographic that you got is probably quite perfect for a Facebook group. And you just need to go out and engage, you know, join some of your local community pages and, you know, join all of those things and just engage with people and be like, hey, you know, are you a teacher in this area and, you know, you're looking for resources? We have this awesome group. Check with the group admins, though, that they're okay for you to post those kinds of things. Sometimes if you reach out in a personal message, they'll be like, hey, yeah, that's cool. It's just if you go post, they'll be like, hey, this is spam. But usually the personal touch, you know, go in there, explain what you're doing and, you know, ask if you can post and, you know, they might give you the go-ahead. And that's how you can recruit people to the group and then start getting them engaging with each other because they'll share ideas. You can share resources. You can say, hey, like, we're trying to do this thing. Do you have ideas? They'll give you ideas, and they're the best people to give you ideas. So, yeah, I think that's, like, a really good target market for you guys to target in a Facebook group.
Really cool.
Cool. I think that's us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.